Hello everyone and welcome back to Base Talk episode 10, Demystifying Pre-University Pathways, where we'll talk about visual comparison based on personal experiences of different pre-university courseways in Malaysia. So first, let's get to know our guests.
Okay, hi, I'll start first. Hi, my name is Zaref of Panli. You guys can call me Zaref. I'm currently under JPA Mara, or mostly known as the Government Scholarship. And right now I'm taking the American Degree Transfer Program in Computer Science. And later I will be pursuing my studies in Australia, taking Data Science. And right now I'm studying at Intech Education College, Shah Alam. Okay.
Hi semua, my name is Muhammad Azaryl and I am a Yayasan Tenaga Senior Scholar. Right now, I'm doing IBDP program in College Marabanting and I'm on my track to pursue data science in the UK.
Minasan, hayo gozaimasu or konnichiwa based on what time you are listening or watching. My name is Mirza bin Nursam. You can call me Aqil. My scholar currently is JPA JKPJ. More specifically, the Japan Preparatory Programme. My course is mainly in science and technology, and I'm currently studying in Intech Education College, Shah Alam.
Hello everyone, I'm Aqilah. You can call me Aqilah. I'm currently taking SACE International at Intech Education College in the pursuit to become a chemical engineer. I am a YTN scholar, Yayasan Tenaga Nasional.
I'm Sue Wei, your moderator of the day. I'm a Patronus scholar doing A-Levels at Intech Education College. Okay, and we can kickstart our podcast with a warm-up activity, which is 2 truths, 1 lie. Can we start with you first, Aqilah?
I would be honored to. So my 2 truths, 1 lie is about my course experience. The first thing is that my lab classes don't bring much weightage, so sometimes I skip them. Second, I've written a case study about a case study titled, "To What Extent Will Fictional Standards Affect Modern Relationships?" And yeah. And my third is that I get less than 5 hours of sleep every day.
That's true. Sis.
Which one is the lie?
I know a lot of SACE people, and I know they sleep more than 5 hours a day.
Oh, really?
Really?
Revert for me.
Surely not less than 5 hours a day.
I think my friends is 2 hours maximum for the SACE student. I don't know.
Hardcore student.
I'll say it's the first one is a lie.
Yeah, the first one.
Third one? Actually, the first one is a lie.
Wow.
Yeah.
We can never skip our lab classes because we have to write a report. And it has to be perfect because it'll provide 10% of marks into the internal assessment.
Crazy. Okay. Should we go with you, Akil?
Okay, for the Japanese Preparatory Programme, it'll be a little bit general. It wouldn't be like inside the class, my experience in the class, it will be more general. Okay, for the first one, I think that learning Japanese is very hard. The second one, in Japan, you will struggle a lot in doing your religious things and your social life because Japanese people are said to be very unsociable towards foreigners. And the last one would be that my course consists of a lot of people who go to Japan because of anime-related things.
Ooh. I think the third one is true.
I think the second one is
The
lie.
second one
I
is
think the first one is a lie.
Okay, split opinions here.
Yeah.
Okay, do you want to review your answer?
Yeah, actually, the lie is that learning Japanese is hard. It's actually should be easy because since this course has been going on for like decades, you'd expect it to be like structured to where every student is able to take it in and master it really, really easily, which that is the case now. So actually, if you follow the course properly, you should have no problems in learning Japanese. What is the course?
I only know Japanese phrases from animes.
Yeah.
I can't. Okay, so now we can move on to
Next one.
Azaryl.
Okay, I'll start with life first. Oh, no.
Don't.
Okay, the first one. Dekat Malaysia ni, ada kurang daripada 1,000 orang lagi. Okay. So the second one, okay, Aqilah said that she have 5 or 6 hours. I think I have 6 or 7 hours in sleep.
Please don't.
Sorry,
Not here.
and the last one is actually I use ChatGPT doing my IA research and PhD.
Who doesn't?
Whoa,
Mm.
a confession.
I think the first one.
No,
Maybe the second one though, right?
I think in a second. I'll go in a second.
So actually, I have around 3 or 4 hours of sleep.
I'm
Really?
so good at this.
We're good.
That is crazy.
In
Yeah.
Malaysia, ada 300 je. Student
Oh, so like even less.
300 je. IBM SKK, TKC, dengan accounting.
Not a lot.
For
Ramai
public
pun.
institution, but as for private students, they can also do like macam Nexus or ISJL. They also have IB.
Based on IB statistic, the amount of students who are taking IB in Malaysia is around 320 students.
Oh,
per
Collectively,
year.
let's say in KNB, we have around 200 students. IBM SKK and TKC,
30, yeah.
so 30 private students.
Mm.
I can't get over like 3-4 hours of sleep. I sleep so much compared to you guys.
I sleep a lot too.
Yeah.
I sleep a lot.
Okay.
Alright, so my facts is based on my course as well. First is I rarely study. I like study, I'll say, twice a week at most. Second is I go out every single week. And third will be most of the students taking ADTP will get 3.5, 3.7 and above for every semester.
I think
I think-
everyone.
The second one is true, I think. Going out every week, I think it's true.
Guess the lie.
Yeah, I'm trying to like.
Rarely studying is a lie. Rarely study.
I think I messed it up a bit. Everything is facts. Everything is a truth.
I knew it.
I messed it up a bit. Yeah, it's a bit of plot
What was
twist.
meant to be the lie?
I forgot. I think it was like I think I missaid something, but everything that I just said is all true. Mm.
Whoa, yeah, that sounds really appealing. We are done with the 2 Truths 1 live session. And so without further ado, we can dive straight into our first serious question. Serious question. Like lock in, guys. So first of all, can you guys tell me about what is the nature of your course? So is it more examination based, or is it more coursework based, or is it a mix of both, or is it something else? So can we start with Zaref first?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I think to explain it the most simplest way is if you guys are stressed about SPM, everything is on paper and stuff, take ADTP. ADTP is something that I'll say that is 70% assessment, assignments, and 30% is on the final exams. So if you guys are struggling with, cramping every single thing in one night and then everything is what matters is just on one paper, then maybe you can take A-Levels. But for ADTP, you need to be a well-rounded, I guess like a grade A student. You don't only need to be good on paper, you need to be good on the classes, because our course is something like you need to go to interview people, you need to do campaigns, you need to do assignments for final year projects. So far, I've done 4 projects or 4 applications. So it's very different compared to SPM. And if you want to run from SPM, you hate exams, take ADTP. It is much more efficient and much more easy, I'll say.
Wait, interesting. I think that's the polar opposite of what I'm doing, which is
Yeah,
A-Levels.
A-Levels.
So for A-Levels, it's mainly, it's absolutely examination based. So we have 2 years. Whoa. So we have 2 years of like external exams. One is AS and one is A2. So everything is based on that external exam. Yeah, some people might think it's really tough, but for those who are more academically driven, for those who want to like focus on just like the exams and then like do things outside of like school on their own, I would say A-Levels is a good choice because you only have to like cram during like the exam season. Okay, don't take my word for this, but technically you can do that. You do not have like a lot of commitment, especially as compared to IBDP, which this is trying to lead to you, Azaryl.
Can I ask, is it true that I've heard that some KY level students skip lab classes because it doesn't contribute to their grade?
Oh, KY lab. KY.
Does that
Oh.
happen?
Oh.
Actually, because for me, my subject combo is I only have one science subject, which is physics. So for all of the lab session, it's compulsory, but not because it carries mark, but because in A-Levels, we also have the practicals component. So we have to practice for that. So I would say it's compulsory, but if you do like absent, you can just like redo the lab. So, but it doesn't really like affect your entire future as compared to you.
Alright, yeah.
Okay, Azaryl.
I think ADTP and IB Diploma have a lot in common.
Yeah, I would say so.
We like twins.
But, but we're just much easier, that's it.
Nature of IB for someone who loves to explore and doing lots of research, academic paper, and talking about examination, we are not that academically driven because 80% is from the examination and 20% coming from the research. But we do have a lot of FYP projects.
Yeah.
We go around schools giving talks and selling stuff to business management.
That sounds like a hassle.
Yeah,
I
it's a
didn't like
hassle.
that.
Community service.
Community service, CAS.
What community service did you do? What's your CAS program?
Okay, we have this.
He's excited.
Okay.
Okay, I try to find the fundraising. Okay, with 5,000 ringgit, we can do base scholarship like Service Ministry doing a lot of IB talks talks about pathways. But IB we do talks in MRSM. Not only that, MRA refugees giving some education, digital literacy, all sort of things. We need to do it. If not, then we cannot done the CAS and we cannot get the IB diploma. So they try to make the holistic person. That's IB around it.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Very interesting. For the Japanese Preparatory Programme, I would like to mention that there are 3 language institutions, Japanese language learning institutions in Malaysia, and this is only for Intech. However, I do believe that it will be more or less the same. Actually, if you've been to MRSM, we have this like PNG system for every semester. It's basically like that for in a semester. The main 2 exams will be midterms and finals. In between them, a lot of quizzes, mock tests, and small tests. So it's like every single component has their like carry marks, right? But I will be honest, your time at Intech won't really affect your time in Japan. Japan wouldn't really care about what you do at Intech. Before you finish your education at Intech, you'll take an exam called the Monkasho. Basically, the Monkasho is it's like it determines whether or not you're eligible to fly to Japan. You have to get higher than a pass rate of 60. Now that may seem high, but it's actually really easy. So I wouldn't say it's like examination based like A-Levels or assignment based like IB and ADTP. It's more really chill. Like for now, it's really chill.
For now, it's really
Yeah.
okay.
That's a keyword.
But wait, just a follow-up question. For your time in Japan, how would the structure look like? Is it something that you already know of, or is it something you're still uncertain about?
I'm fairly uncertain about it, but I'm pretty sure it would go just like a normal university.
Oh, okay. Aqilah, SACE.
SACE. Alright. SACE. So if we were to say, is it assessment based, capability based, or examination based? Honestly, can I answer all of the above?
Yeah.
It's like it involves
It's all-
everything that be with like different percentages. So I wish I had locked in earlier. When I got into here, I wish I had actually like understood what I was getting myself into, because what we were introduced to was that 30% external exams and 70% internal assessments. So the 30% is a big final exam basically, and that happens after our third semester, in our third semester. And so the 70% we were told would be mainly coursework. Tapi rupanya ada juga tes. So it's like topical tests. And they are weighted. So in that 70%, 40% of it goes into SATs, which are skill assessment tests. And what is crazy about it for me is that sometimes they happen so quickly. And then there's, for me, I don't know, maybe I struggle with organization. So that is a trait that is very important for SACE. Students need to be organized, disciplined, and your calendar has to take note of everything. Yeah, because if you miss a deadline, then you're gonna be lost. We came in assuming that we would be able to focus on coursework. Tapi like imagine in that same week, you have a test coming up, so you have to revise for that too.
Yeah.
You gotta revise for classes. At night, you're looking at coursework. And so you gotta sacrifice your outside life for SACE.
Okay. Oh, thank you, Aqilah. So if I could just like sum up this first discussion, right? I could tell this like spectrum. This is like spectrum of different courses. So on one side of the spectrum, we have this like really full of outside life punya like course,
Social.
ADTP and IB. Yeah. And then for Japan Prep, it's more
In the middle.
it's more in the middle, and we also have SACE that's like the mix of everything, and you really have to like juggle everything at once.
I forgot to add something.
Okay.
There's
That
more.
you said
more.
there's always more. For A-level, you guys said that you grind in when the exams come, right? SACE is about consistent stress. So you need to learn to live with that stress every day. So some people might say, oh, but SACE that busy pun. No, we're this specific amount of busy every single day. Macam like the total amount of busy you have for your exams, we have that like allocated every day. Because we have coursework due this day, we have like 5 different coursework
Well,
the same semester.
that's really
Yeah.
Yeah, they never want to go to dinner with me. They don't want to go to
We
dinner
never
with
go
me.
out. We rarely go out.
you rather
honestly.
go. Oh.
Not never. We're not antisocial.
Okay, so this is like constant energy, while A levels, I would say it's like the other end of the spectrum where it's because it's entirely external exam based. Some might think it's good, but the possible downsides of it is that the exams are really, really high stake. So when the stress actually comes, it comes at a magnitude that's like, whoa, insane. Yeah. Okay, so that would be wrapping up our first question. And just linking from what Aqilah have said about the trait that is for SACE, you've mentioned about SACE students have to have really good self-discipline and really good organizational skills. So this leads to my second question. So what do you guys think is the trait that is most suitable for your type of courses?
Being in SACE, you have to be someone who catches up very quickly because we're exploring new topics almost every week. And so the tests almost come very quickly after. Like you will feel like, oh, I still have a week. It turns out you did not do enough revision because the application will be different from what you learned in class. So yeah, basically in SACE, someone who adapts very quickly, someone who can catch everything in class, and yeah, basically. And someone who's consistent. I have to emphasize.
That's what we know.
This is a scary thing. Performance standard in SACE is insane. Like for example, we have 5 SATs. A student scores 90, 90, 90, 90, but one of them, they drop to 80.
Oh.
They're immediately not eligible for an A+ because of lack of consistency.
Whoa.
Oh, okay.
Scared.
That's scary.
You actually got 5 A+, and then this for one subject.
No, 3. Another insane thing is that the 90 doesn't mean you get A+.
Oh.
Has to be together.
Yeah, like as a whole, and then compared with the population, and then
Oh, because of the bell curve.
So,
Bell curve. Ah,
Bell
okay.
curve.
Oh, the bell curve.
That was what I was trying to say.
Yeah, that's pretty tough.
mm.
So, Aqil, what about you?
First of all, I think someone who's learned like a third language would be really good because you know like the how to build from the ground up. Basically, you're learning a third language, and like Aqilah also, we have to be consistent. Even though like our time at Intech doesn't really matter, like the whole semester thing doesn't matter, but it's kind of like an unwritten responsibility. Like you're a scholar, you are expected to perform, so you really need to be consistent. Of course, I get a lot of sleep, but you still have a lot of exams, quizzes that you have to score so that you score and GPA doesn't come for you.
Yeah, valid concern.
Valid.
Yeah.
Valid concern. Okay, Azaryl.
One trait that IB students share is, I think, is independent. So when you're doing some research, there isn't that much guide from the teachers. You need to interview some people,
Yeah.
coming from the, yes, there's someone give to a lot of cold emails to certain PLCs to get the insight and data. And all of that doesn't have the guidance from the teachers. It's all independent.
Oh.
And you need to build a lot of connection coming from the orang-orang yang ni besar-besar.
Betul.
Lepas tu pula resilient. Okay, imagine lah, I submit proposal to my teachers regarding for my research. Okay, and then I got rejected about 3 or 4 times. Just for the IQ itself. Okay, not to mention the fact that ada kawan saya yang 10 times, 11 times. Matter of fact, dia punya data semua tu pun kena reject. And they build resilient in our personality. Sebab rejection tu dah benda biasa.
So you have a really thick skin.
Kena memang betul-betul tebal muka. You need to meet a lot of people, doing a lot of volunteering, cari dana, fundraising. So, and that's what makes IB resilient and also kena ada apa tadi? Traits people. Independent.
Independent, resilient, and kena tebal muka.
Tebal muka.
Okay.
Okay, you guys sound so stressful though, by the way.
Bring some light to this podcast.
Okay, so ADTP, right? I think just one thing that you should be is just be an active student. That's it. To be honest, that's it. Because like, basically in classes, is it really important? Yeah, sort of. But I wouldn't say that it's not important. But like, again, that's YouTube to learn and stuff. Because most of the time, I think most ADP students is just come to class, listen to the teacher or lecturer talk about 2 hours, and then most of that we don't even understand anything. And then we go back home, cari je topik tu, and then baca je balik. Tapi one thing about ADTP that you need to, I guess like you need to prepare is memang exam tu macam tak ada pun sebenarnya. Sebab and you got to take subjects yang memang tak related. I'm taking com science and I will be taking data science, but I take psychology this semester. I've taken business as well. So dia macam it's a mix of everything lah, I'll say. That tak semestinya if you study computer science, you're gonna learn calculus. Programming, no. You gotta learn all of the other stuff juga lah, senang kata. But one trait again is, first is what I said is active, and learning style is probably gonna be laid back, I would say. Because like, again, I've said about the facts that I've said, I rarely study, and yes, that's a true thing. You just need to focus in class a bit, and then most of the time the exams selalunya, sebab it's not like it's IB like everyone gets the same paper, all institution.
Yes.
For ADTP, it depends on the institution. So kalau rapat dengan lecturer tu, just kena, and then you get the paper. Macam tu je. It's cable lah. Tapi one thing about our grade, A+ is 95, A is 90. Tapi A is enough pun sebenarnya. So A+ tu macam just a bonus thing. And yeah, that's about it lah about ADTP.
Can I have one more?
Yeah, sure.
Also for Japanese learning, you need to be really patient because since we learn a lot of things, right? They're not complicated, they're just a lot. When you always tend to forget what you've learned, so basically what you learned this week, then next week in class, you may forget and it's like, oh, I've learned this, but I can't remember. You always have to recheck what does this word mean because we learn and memorize a lot of grammar and words. I think kanji now near 1,000, I think. So a lot you will forget. So yeah, I have to be really, really patient. Get used to forgetting things and doing the wrong things.
Yeah, I think in terms of the learning curve, really like Japan program is the one that's actually like facing a learning curve, and you have to like actually betul-betul look at the words that you've like learned before to ensure that it's actually inside your brain. So, and also like heavy on the YouTube is your best friend part. So I think
YouTube, not AI.
YouTube AI, same thing.
So for A-Levels, right, because A-Levels is really like external exam focused, and meanwhile we also have a lot of like class tests, topical tests in school, but that's like internal weightage. So it doesn't really matter in terms of university application because the internal test is not going to like go contribute to those like external exams. So I would say one trait that a student must have to do well in A-Levels is to be someone that's really academically driven in a sense that you are not afraid to ask questions. Because for my subject combo, I do economics, physics, math, and further math. So you have to have a thick skin in terms of asking teachers questions. Why is that so? Because while math, I would say it's relatively easy. It's just like SPM level. Further math is really something else. So you have to do a lot of practice and don't be afraid to ask your teachers about questions. And And the best friend, not just YouTube, but also the past papers. So the study style of A-Levels is pretty much similar to SPM. You just do lots of past year paper. You just go talk to your teachers, do past year paper, watch YouTube videos about like those subjects, and also try to learn more about the subject that's beyond the curriculum. Because in terms of university application, especially if you're applying to the UK, it's really, really important that you also focus on depth instead of like breadth. That's for like UK unis lah. So that's for A-Levels. Whoa, so from this like discussion, right, I think, you guys were really like impressive, especially SACE and like IBDP. It's such a different thing. Well,
You see the students here?
yeah, I see it from far away. Because it's kind of different from SPM. Because all of us came from SPM background, right?
Yes.
It's really different from SPM punya like styles. So, have you guys like adapted into this persona yet?
Oh, not yet.
It's like half
I
a
mean,
year. It's been
like-
half a year though.
I mean, like, again, my life is just basically having fun. So adaptability and having fun is quite easy, to be fair.
I feel like for SACE, the most proactive people adapt the fastest. Like people who like start early consultations on their projects or coursework, or like take the time. Somehow they can balance studying, and somehow they can finish like the draft of their coursework so quickly, and then already consult when I haven't even started. Those kind of people really can excel.
I see. Yeah, I think I also do agree on that part. Because for A-Levels, because like grades is kind of like the bare minimum to, because a lot of people have good grades, but in order to like get into a good uni, you also have to have like good extracurriculars.
Super.
Yeah, super curriculars.
So stressful at A-Levels.
Okay lah, I think. Okay, sure.
Go to IB, go to IB.
Yeah, compared to what Aqilah said. So this is going to lead to our next question, which is about university application. So because all of us here are scholars, so what are some of the minimum requirements that you have to meet? And on top of grades, what's something else that you have to do like that's outside of your exams or like your course? Because I like for IBDP, you have CAS, you have EE, you have TOK.
JK.
But do you have something else that you have to like meet in order to fly?
Okay, about the passing requirement, those just is a matter of scholars. Okay, YTN, YTP, whatever, mostly 35 points need to fly. But when I look at the application, UK, US, Aussie, depends on the university. Most of them requires 35 to 37. Let's say if a good uni. You can enter Manchester using 32 or 33 points.
Can you
Depends.
explain the point system?
Oh, every subjects we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and 7. Okay. So we have 7 points.
Alright,
We have 7 points. 6 subjects. Okay. If you think you say you learn about what again, business management.
Yeah, I do
The combo.
business, combo.
We have surprisingly we have Malay. Malay. We learn Malay language.
That should be easy, right?
It's not.
Oh,
It's very different from Malay SPM.
Is it like poetic?
It's a poetic Malay.
Okay.
My question, okay. There's a horse named Hidayah.
Okay.
Okay. And then you need to interpret why her name is Hidayah.
And what's
Okay, the story behind it is lengthy. You need to read about it and then interpret it using, all those language styles and themes. You need to express it in your own way.
What a weird thing.
Okay,
to learn.
that's for Malay. Okay. And then we
That's
have
very
English B.
unexpected.
English B is just the same. Like SPM levels.
Yes,
Okay. Last 2 weeks, I went to Camp S Talks. I asked the IELTS requirement to enter the uni. And he said, you don't need to do IELTS lah. Why you need to waste your money? IELTS. Because the IB papers, let's say if you are taking IBHL or English, you just need 5 or 6. And then you can submit your application. You don't need to do IELTS anymore. Okay. For the third subject, okay, all the subjects you need to choose based on the will of core of the IB. So it's a mix of both Malay culture of our country and then the language that you are going to learn, English. Individual and society is a mix of economics, business, but I choose business. Then we have math, MAA and MAI. I choose MAA. Last one is about science. I'm taking physics and chemistry. What again the question is?
The question is about the minimum requirement.
Oh, the minimum requirement.
Okay.
Okay.
He went so far.
Okay, the minimum requirement is depends on the subject. Okay, that's what I'm trying to relate to. We have HL and SL.
So
HL and
complicated.
SL. Higher learning, higher level, and standard level. Okay. Usually requirement they need to have 5 or 6 in HL. Okay, but for SL it's quite lower because most of the unis they look for the HL. Some students take 3. Okay lah. Some like taking 4 HL, which is crazy. Okay. But the requirement itself, it really depends on the uni. That's all lah. Talking about me. About CAS and TOK. CAS and TOK, a lot of people don't know about CAS and TOK. TOK is how the things that you know. Okay, how you know the things that you know. Thinking skills.
That orang dan nak mulut.
Allah, yes.
Like they went so deep into TOK, theory of knowledge, that
There's a
questioning
study
religion.
about world religion. You compare about other religion and your religion and give a bit of discussion. Which one is better, which one ni. Macam tu. And up to that point, dia macam interesting lah. You just want to know what's your thinking. And you can do also TOK about other prompts. They have 30 prompts you can choose. Really just up to you guys. The things that you love to explore. As for me, I love to explore language and culture.
Oh, okay.
So,
Linguistics.
so I do the prompts into how language affects certain cultures, certain about CAS. CAS, I would say
I am lost.
but talking about the requirement, okay.
Okay, audience, if you're lost,
if you are not doing TOK and CAS, you cannot get the IB diploma. You need to finish the CAS and TOK. Talking about IB, you need a long hours just to explain all about IB requirement. So I'm just a bit of brief explanation about IB.
Alright.
We should
That's
have
the
an
requirement.
we should have an episode just
Create a reel of you.
There were so many like terms I didn't understand.
Yeah.
about IB diploma.
By the way, CAS is creative, activity, and
service.
Okay, and TOK is theory of
Knowledge.
and EE is extended essay.
Should have said that first actually.
Okay, it's interesting, but I really like how it really shapes you into a really well-rounded being.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Okay,
ADTP.
let's make this much more easier.
Please lighten this.
I don't know,
podcast.
like you've been saying about Hidayah horse, I don't know. A lot of weird stuff. Okay, so again, the name is American Degree Transfer Program. It's made by the States, the United States. JPA used to tell us, oh, you guys can go to the States, but we all know what is happening in the States, so we are reverting to Australia, which leads to my second point. Although the name is American, you can go to USA, UK, Ireland, Australia, New Zealand, and Canada, if I'm not mistaken. So, very different from 45 points. We use CGPA, the most standard and the most easiest way to count your marks. Again, don't listen to IB, to be honest. Okay, so again, I have 6 semesters in total in Intech. It depends on the institution. Okay, sorry. So every single semester, my subject will change. Like my first semester, I took pre-calculus and I took C++. That's the core subjects. Second semester is calculus 1 and Python. And semester 3 in Intech is summer semester. So it's going to be 7 weeks and class is going to be 4 hours only in 1 week. So you can imagine how much fun you're going to have during that.
4 hours in a week.
4 hours in a week. So let's say if you cakap-cakap to the lecturer, oh boleh tak kita buat 2 jam Isnin, 8-10, lepas tu 10-12, lepas tu habis lah. So Selasa, Rabu, Khamis, Jumaat. It's negotiable.
My class is 8 to 4 every day.
Boring. Okay. Again, that's summer semester. It depends on the institution. The normal semester will be, credit hour will be around, on average, going to be 16 hours. So right now I'm in my last semester. Just to give a rough example, I don't have class on Friday. So it's another weekend off. And most of my classes evening tak ada. So ada 2 hari je ada evening class. Tapi it's going to be very kosong lah. So that's why I say ADTP in another name is actually all day to play. It's not another name. Yeah, it's all day to play. So I'll say that it's easy to score, but it's easy to pass, but it's not easy to score. because the grading system, if it's you get a 90, your GPA for that subject will be 4.00. A plus is 4.00 as well. And then A minus is only from 85 to 89. It's 3.67, if I'm not mistaken. No jokes. It's the real thing, right?
This is
It's
how many
3.67.
times?
And then I believe you can fail at
Give me a compilation.
the
Sorry, go on.
the failing grade will be at 65. So if you get 65%, you'll fail in that subject. You got to take that subject again, because ADTP, based on your transfer, I will be going to the country, whatever country I'm going, as a second year and not a second year. So if you want to graduate early as well, go to ADTP, because you'll graduate 1 year earlier compared to A-Level, IB, SACE. And I'm not sure about Japan, most probably the same as well. So yeah, if I want to sum up, if you want to go for ADTP, it's going to be very smooth, I would say. It's going to be very smooth, and you'll be graduating a bit earlier compared to the international students.
Well, ADTP sounds so like
So
sunshiny.
Wow.
Well, okay, the next question is going to be different. I hope. Okay, so as for Aqilah,
Yeah.
what is the minimum requirement for you to apply?
Okay, so first of all, the eligibility to fly is based on your Mongkasho basic, the last exam you take before finishing your education in Malaysia. Basically, you just need to pass the pass rate like 60%. Now that may seem high, but there's a saying around in our course that you're not really aiming to pass, you're actually aiming to get 100. That's how easy it is.
Okay.
And also for university, I think my teacher said that there was like Prime Minister changing in Japan or something. I'm not really sure, but you might need a JLPT requirement. Like you guys have IELTS, right?
Yes.
We don't need that. Obviously, no English in Japan, so we might need to take JLPT like N3 or N2, which is like there are 5 levels: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We might need to take 2 or 3 to just be able to go into university. And I would like to say that JPA JKPJ is significantly different to JPA Mara that sends to Japan and Abang Aswan Jepun in UM and Pusat Bahasa DQ. After I fly, I will go to it's like an institution called Kosen. The only Malaysian example I can give is that it's like Polytechnic. You get 3 years there in for diploma, and then 2 years in a Japanese university for a degree. So very long time. Yeah, very long. 5 years actually in Japan. So I think that's about it. It's not really that complicated. And for like university applications, there's no like holistic website.
Oh,
You have to kind
So
of
there's no like macam UCAS. UCAS is
no.
So
It's
you
like
can do it on your own.
no. You have to like if you want to go to Tokyo University, you have to go to Tokyo and take the entrance exam. And if you pass that, I'm not sure if there's an interview or not, but you've passed and then might have to go interview, then you go in. So it's not like there's a system. And I hate the one thing I don't like about that is that you have to pay for every entrance exam. So if you fail, you lose your money and you don't get into
Pay to go there as well, right?
no, for the entrance exam. So like if you want to apply for 4, you have to pay for 4 universities entrance exam. That and like that lah. But I think it's fairly simple.
I think that works kind of similar to US applications as well. For like the registration fee just to register, like to apply for it as an application.
Yep.
I see. So as for Aqilah, what is the minimum requirement for you to have like Australian education system?
Ours is based on ATAR, and basically, I think it's called Australian Tertiary Academic Ranking System. And this is based on our population of how many people are taking SACE. So basically, what we need to do is score a certain percentage. So for most of the universities I'm targeting for chemical engineering, I need an ATAR of 80% and above. However, YTN sets their scholars needs to achieve 85 and above. And the difficulty is in applying. It's in trying to get that mark. So basically, the mindset you need for SACE is just to score as high as you can, because your highest might not mean that you are the highest among the population.
Yeah.
So then they will take your marks. For example, you get 10 A pluses, and if there's someone who gets 11A, if there's more people getting 11A plus, that means you will fall below the percentage. So for example, if I get 80% ATAR, that means that I'm the top 20% of the population.
Or based on like percentile.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I get it.
So we can't, for us students, we don't really have an image of what our ATAR looks like yet, because we haven't been compared to the population. For example, our end of SEM examination so far, that's just purata marka, the usual thing you see in exams. It hasn't been compared to the population. So we are clueless. That's the thing. But for the application process, the one fun thing, not fun thing, but like the one fun fact I discovered from my seniors is that they actually will not request any extracurricular achievement or like documents. So that's why I'm saying it's okay to sacrifice your outside life for SACE, because it's not required anyway for the application. So it depends entirely on your ATAR, because in that ATAR in SACE, there's already many things that assess you.
I see. Oh, so it works really differently because say like for A-Levels or ADTP, we have like a safe zone for us, as in, once we reach like, for me, A star, which is like 90 marks, I'm considered like, it's only like A star, it's just A star. And whatever the rest of like my competitors do, like even though they also get A star, it's not like I'm worse than them just because like my marks is like 92 instead of like 96. We're all A stars. And as for you, it's different because you really don't have like a safe zone for you.
Yeah.
So you can only go as high as you could.
Yeah. Every time we would like talk about marks with our lecturers, like if I get 90%, can I get A plus? The lecturers will be like, no. 90% does not guarantee A plus.
I see.
And another thing is that we have a trial examinations, like trial external exams. The 30% I talked about, we have trials for those, and we apply for a conditional offer with those results. So we'll be applying before our external exams, and then after external exams, either applying again or we get that conditional offer. So lock in early. Legit, you gotta lock in early, be consistent, focus, catch everything. That's SACE, basically.
And now moving on to the next question, right? Do you guys have any common misconception or myths that's really prevalent about your courses that you would like to debunk? We can start with Zaref.
I think I have one. I think one misconception that people always perceive about ADTP is ADTP doesn't get you into top universities. That's not really the case for Australia, but some cases in the States lah. So what I can say is, people say, you're taking ADTP ke, tak boleh masuk lah ni macam California, Berkeley, Stanford, Harvard, and all of the Ivies lah kan. Well, it's not false, but it's not true lah. Sebab does ADTP ada dua option. Either you take 2 years or 1 year. If you want to go for Ivy Leagues, do 1 year ADTP. And then most of Ivy League will accept you. So macam satu, again, I said kan senang ADTP. It's not like A-level kan. So senang, and then you can get into Ivy. Again, memanglah USA you need legacies, you need alumni. Kita letak tu kat luar, tapi it is possible. So that's one misconception. And Australia, University of Melbourne accept us. South Wales accept us. But some universities that do not accept transfer, tak accept lah. Contoh macam University of Sydney tak accept. The ANU tak accept. But I think misconception about us not able to get into top universities is very false. Boleh je sebenarnya, tapi dia kena ikut university tu juga sebenarnya. Not all universities accept transfer, tapi most of them do accept. So macam Australia, Uni Melbourne is the top universities. You can get into that. We go for USA. One of our seniors managed to get into Brown University. It is possible. So it's not, benda tu tak betul sebenarnya. Yeah, I think that is one misconception about ADTP, I'll say.
I see. Okay, what about you, Azaryl?
Okay, when you talk about IB, most of people, there's a weird thing, IB is IBZ.
IBC.
And
All day to
IB
play
has no
IBC.
life. And they said like, if you're doing IB, you're cooked. And it's hard to get 35 and above. Surprisingly, people in IB getting, the average score is 32, global average. And it can be, let's say in Malaysia, about 90% achieve 35 and more. Okay? Let's say, if comparing to A-Levels, and we might need to have like 3 A-star to 4 A-star to get to Cambridge or Oxford. But for IB, they have the contextual. They kind of like reduce the IB grades for the university application, because, okay, let's say 45 points, there's only 500 student around the world that actually get a 45 out of 45. Okay? And there's a bit of, dia kasi kurang sikit lah point. In order
So it's
to
because of how rigorous IBDP is. So the contextual admission requirement gets reduced.
Talking about the, let's say, if you guys A-levels, 90 A plus, but you don't have the fixed amount of boundaries. Sometimes 60 is considered 6 and 70 is 7. Sometimes 75.
Oh, also based on the bell curve.
Yeah, but okay, surprisingly, they have time zone 0, 1 and 2 and so there's a bit of bias lah. Time zone 3 we have China, Singapore, so the bell curve is a bit high.
Yeah.
compared to others.
So we are in the same time zone as Singapore and China. Okay, tough one.
Tough one.
So basically, IB is not that hard.
Yeah, I would say sebab IA and semua benda tu, yang research tu actually bantu untuk grades. Okay? Orang kata buat ni susah lah semua kan. Tapi semua orang akan dapat average mostly. Dapat 10 to 20. And it's actually supports untuk kita punya final exam.
I see.
So don't worry, just take IB. Okay? Don't takut.
It's not like really, really high stake.
Good news for IB.
Good news for IB. Okay, thank you.
Okay, for Japan, I think there's a lot that I would like to mention. First of all, is that learning Japanese should be easy because again, the syllabus should be structured to support like someone who's never learned the language before to completely master it. So you don't really have to worry about aku ni boleh ke ambil Jepun ni. You don't really have to worry about that. Just go with it. And another one would be that you will struggle to like with your social life and your religious things in Japan because Japan is a very like I don't know how to say this, but
Secular.
sorry?
It's like non-religious.
That and I don't know why they're really patriotic.
Xenophobic. Is it like
I don't know what that word is.
Is it like they
Like small-minded.
they like to mingle among themselves.
Yeah, they're very patriotic, so they don't really like to talk with foreigners. They'll look at us like aliens. So you will struggle, especially like if you go to like Tokyo or people like the city side of Japan. If in the countryside it's a little bit less like a little bit less intense, that kind of thing, but you still struggle. So you really have to be independent in finding ways to like for us Muslims praying and finding friends. Those things are actually really hard. And yeah, I think that's about all.
Okay, Aqilah. What's
Okay.
the myth?
Alright. I don't think there's any myths or misconception because people don't know anything about SACE. There's not that many people taking SACE for an opinion of SACE to be formed yet. But I will say the things that we assumed when we first came in versus what we actually had to face. So, like I said, a 90% doesn't guarantee you get an A+, because there's moderation and scaling. So if you search any video about SACE, you'll learn about moderation and scaling, which is the lecturers of a class will have to send the samples of each grade. For example, if they marked someone as A+, they have to send over that paper to the SACE board. And if they marked someone as B, they have to send out those papers as well. Basically, all the grades. And the grades given will be evaluated if they are worthy. So, for example, if someone got an A+, but then the SACE board looks at it and feels like, oh, you know what? I don't think they deserve it. They get marked down, I think. Yeah.
He's shocked.
Moderate down.
Oh, moderated down. But it works other way, right? It could also be moderated up.
Rarely.
Oh.
The moderated up is rare, but usually it's moderated down. So that means the people who also got that grade, theirs get modded down as well.
Oh.
Yeah. And then tapi okay, fine. One of the pros of SACE, I guess, is that you get to negotiate a lot with the lecturers. So we have a lot of ACTs. We get to negotiate the times and dates of those SATs. Before taking a test, the teacher will be like, oh, when do you guys want it? And I would say our lecturers are very forgiving. They give us many opportunities, sometimes even retake SATs. So, yes, there's a lot of stress, but the lecturers accommodate that with their kindness as well. And, another unexpected thing is that you get a really long time for consultation. For example, in university, So I've heard, like the time limit for your research or your case study is like very limited, but we have like weeks and months and sometimes even more than one semester to spend on a certain project. Hence, we get to perfect it. So technically, that in that way, the stress is less, and it really helps us from being overwhelmed.
Oh, so there's still a human side of SACE. You're not all like robotics, not robotic. So I guess for myth or misconception about A-Levels, because A-Levels is a relatively more well-known pathway. So I guess I can talk a bit about some of the features of it that I've not mentioned before. So typically people can choose either 3 or 4 subjects. So I choose 4 subjects. So in the context of university applications, actually only 3 subjects matter. So for example, like say under Petronas, the minimum requirement to fly is 15 points. So it's actually like 3 A's. You don't need to like get 3 A stars to like fly. But in order for you to get into a good uni, of course, like getting an A star is like bare, I wouldn't say bare minimum, but looking at your competitors, it's like, oh, you have to like get at least like A stars for it. And then as for the fourth subject, it's kind of like insurance subject for you to either like sharpen your application. Say like because I'm an economics major, I'm gonna do economics later, and my 4th subject is like physics. So I chose physics because it's a subject that can show like analytical skills of it. So this like what I'm trying to like convey the message is that choosing like a subject combo for A-Levels is also something strategic, because a lot of people like do A-Levels because they think they can like, oh, just like focus on like studies and like not think about like something else like side questing. I would say if you want to be strategic about university applications, just focusing on studies is actually not enough. Yes, you can do well in your A-Levels, but your supercurriculars also matter. I think this is like something I haven't mentioned earlier on. Supercurriculars is essentially the extracurriculars that's related to your major. Say if like I play football, that doesn't really count as supercurricular because it doesn't relate to engineering. So some examples of supercurriculars might be internships of your subject, or it could also be just you reading a lot about that subject. So for UK applications, reading a lot and like showing that you're someone that takes initiatives outside of just like schoolwork is like something, it's a really important point plus.
Also, I know a bit about A-Levels. My brother took it before. And don't you guys get to like retake your AS if you get a little bit low score?
It depends on like the timing. So for me, I take the May June exam season. But then if your May June exam flops, you can take like the October November one. That actually also depends on, I think, your institution. I think for Intech, you are able to do that, but I'm not too sure about people who's doing A-Levels at other institutions. But in general, I think you can.
Does it affect the application when you are application kan? When we retake, does it affect? I mean, bila dah B jadi A, dia akan tengok balik ke B tu, ke tak?
I think it does account for it. Like I think like it does like look into it because say like university application, the timing is for UK it's around like October. October is like the deadline for some universities, while for some it's like a little bit later. So if you're not able to macam like submit your retake punya results on time, then you have to use like the either predicted grades or like your AS results, the first one. Yeah, but it's a good question. I'm not like too sure about that. Okay, so I guess we wrap up the misconception or myth part. And the next question is, what is something in your pathway that you wish could be different? This could be some aspects of it that you think, well, if it's like not like this, I would have a much happier life. Maybe?
Then may I start first?
Yes.
All right. Okay. I keep talking bad about SACE. I feel bad now. I mean, it's not that horrible. I mean, I'm sure the stress is about the same as A-level, but at times it does feel overwhelming. However, what I wish could be different is that our SATs and our end of semester exams have very different like marking formats. For example, a usual exam, you would have at least like 80 to 100 marks, 80 to 100 marks. And that puts less weightage on each mark that you lose. However, for our ACTs, since they're topical, there's not that many exams. So usually it's 30 to 40 marks, or at most 50. It's never been more than that. Those are the marks in one SAT. So it's very easy to lose marks. As like you lose 3 marks, you already hit an 80%. And that's what I wish could be different, because the SAT is weighted and it's so easy to lose marks on the...
Okay, may I start? Okay. Okay, so for me, I would say that the main thing would be that I wish that my schedule was a bit more loose, because 8 to 4, like from Monday to Thursday, and then Friday 8 to 12, it's macam sekolah menengah lah.
Yeah.
So I don't really like that feeling. There's a lot of things to learn, but most of the things you can learn on your own. So I would like there to be like self-study sessions, so that we can learn to be independent and not really like rely on teachers so much. So yeah, that's one. The second thing is that I wish, as I said, JPA JKPJ is significantly different than other Japanese scholarships. After their 1.5 years, they go to uni like immediately. We have like the 3 years diploma thing. I don't really like that, because we spend total 5 years in Japan. You guys, four, right? How many? 3.
I mean,
3.
technically 2.
2. So it's a long time. When I finally finish like my studies, you guys are already working.
It takes a long time for you to graduate and actually like go to
Try to
the
compete with you guys.
workforce. Yeah, Azaryl.
Honestly, I love IB. Okay, to be honest, I like the way they're trying to make the best students, holistic and everything, and independent, as I mentioned before. But one thing, too much independent is stressful, you know. And I believe, maybe, let's say this is Malaysia, but what about other countries? All those, a lot of guidance from the teachers to get the quality education, and this is one of the main problems in IB itself. Let's say if you want to get resources stuff, usage in TikTok is very less about IB. Not to mention in the Google, you need to pay some amount of 400, 500 just to get a good quality from the website itself. And I think that's one thing is very challenging for us to get past papers. Even the past paper website pirate got blocked by IB.
Why?
They said like because
They want you to pay for it.
Because of copyright.
Wow. They want you to pay for it.
So is there any way that you can get past paper? Like, can you buy from them or?
Okay, as a matter of fact, even the question on the books and compared to past paper is very different. And there's not a single question in the IB that repeats again. This is for math. Okay, this is very hard for us. The basic SPM dulu kan kita dah ada. Contoh kalau definition ni nak jawab macam ni. Tapi dekat soalan definition pun tak ada. Dia macam banyak konsep. Tak ada soalan yang repeat. Okay. Dia memang betul-betul kena faham. Salat saya sebab I memorize a lot. Okay, SPM kita punya self learning. Buat past paper. Okay, soalan macam ni.
Satu subjek ada 5 bulan.
And then nampak paper tu macam, ya Allah, tak pernah nampak soalan tu. Memang soalan so different. Okay. Lepas tu pula, maybe in approach lah. One of the hardest thing is always the research. Okay. When you don't have the guided how to make a research. Matter of fact, okay, I need to find an advisor to actually help me how to make a good research, not from my institution. Okay. Guided analysis, data analysis, descriptive and all of that. That's the most challenging way lah. But instead of that, in terms of education, I think that's why the boundaries is so low for IB. It's not about that's so hard, but it's so hard to get the bahan-bahan untuk belajar. Kalau I wish lah, if IB instead of making it very difficult, ban also the website and give more opportunities and education equality itself.
I see.
Maybe in Malaysia only 300. Let's see in Argentina, Brazil, the country that have lower in average score. There's a reason behind it. It's of course the accessibility.
I see. There's so many hurdles in actually like studying IB. It's like prepping for exam itself. It's really like there's so many hurdles. I think that contrasts a lot with A-Levels because there's a lot of resources online, like YouTube channels, there's a lot. And past year papers, you can like get like topical past year papers, like that's already being compiled. So I would say prepping for exam is like, it's not really difficult. If you put your effort into it, you can definitely find resources available online. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Here comes the fun part, right? Okay.
To play.
First of all, I was just saying, I love you, ADTP. I love you so much. I love you so much. Okay, I think I touched on every single point. For IB, you say the resources. To be fair, ADTP tak ada resource at all. Dia macam, kita ada satu textbook yang tak pernah dapat pun textbook tu. Textbook tu online, tapi tak pernah buka. And then most of the time, kita ikut je lecturer punya slide. So, memang belajar based on lecturer punya slides saja. And then you say the questions and everything. Most of the time, kita orang guna past year questions je. And one more thing about ADTP, soalan tanya ulang. Ikut institution juga. Kalau intake macam last semester, I had my C++ paper. The question is basically the same. They just changed from pen to paper, 1 to 2. Tu je tau.
No code juga.
Tu je lah. But at the end it's very similar. Lepas tu you talk about the macam rigid timing kan.
Yeah.
Macam 8 to 5, 8 to 4. Again, I've talked about this, nothing. And then we have SACE. SACE lah. Okay, I cannot say anything lah. Tapi one thing that I hope can change about ADTP is for universities to accept us lah. Again, I don't know if University of Sydney is listening to this, but I hope they are. University of Sydney as well as ANU, the National University of Australia, please do accept us. Please accept us. We still have time. To application. I have not started my application. So University of Sydney, if you are listening, please do accept transfer students. And tu je lah sebenarnya one thing that I hope is different.
On behalf of base, we'll try our best. I hope you said and you listen to this.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's it lah for one thing that I hope can change the ADTP. Overall structure is fun. Remember, ADTP is all day to play. You gotta have fun. That's it. I'll say.
Okay, I can really tell your love for ADTP. So if there's someone like that's so passionate about ADTP, it's you, the ambassador. Okay, I think for me, one thing I wish could be different because A-Levels is something that's really, really established and it's been around for a really long time. So actually my answer would be nothing.
I was about to say, what are you
it's actually nothing. I would say, I'm really grateful for how it is. And even like there's like different exam boards, right? Because there's actually like AQA at Excel, but I'm doing the international one, which is the CAIE. Yeah. Even though it's that right. But in terms of resources, we get a lot of resources. And sometimes even looking at the resources of other exam boards, it helps also. It helps to a certain extent. So I guess for this question, it would be like nothing. But if there's something that I wish my studying experience as an A-level student would be different is that I wish I could have more time with my lecturers because I know in other institutions, because they are like a boarding school, so they have like a lot of time with their lecturers. So for me, I wish like I could have had like more time with my lecturers lah.
Also, there's so many of you, right? There's so many students for A-Levels.
Yeah,
like compared to SACE, we're just like a class of 20 people. So we have a lot of close time with our lecturers.
Actually, one class, the class size is not like a lot. So for further math, we have like 20 plus. Previously there was more, but a lot of people dropped for the math. So like, yeah. But I think my closest, my biggest class is econs, which is nearing like 30. So I'd say like that's good lah. Yeah, actually nothing to change. I love A-Levels. Yeah. Okay. So this brings us to almost the end of the podcast. So we are gonna like wrap it up with one advice that you would give to your juniors that's starting your pathway. So please start with you, Zaref.
Yeah, sure. Please take ADTP. That's one thing. Okay.
Actually have fun. ADTP is a place that you should have fun. I've said this many times lah, tapi ADTP is just a place for you to have fun. And one thing that I've really encouraged is to tengok dulu lagi negara apa. If let's say you're going to the USA, make sure your extracurricular is very nice. I think that's my mistake in my part last. But I thought I was going to USA, so I joined many things in extracurricular. Tapi last pergi Australia, which does not need anything about your extracurricular, just your grades. And then one last thing is make sure korang rapat dengan korang punya lecturer. Again, ADTP is not a
Independent.
Independent. It's like depends on the institution. Dia bukan semua satu negara same exam paper. No, it depends on the institution. If you are not close to your lecturer, susah. Sebab nanti korang tak tahu sports questions, korang tak tahu apa yang masuk semua. So having a close relationship with your lecturer is very important.
Okay, for those of you who want to take IBDP program, first of all, know yourself first. A lot of people want to be around the student, but sometimes they're not fit for the program itself. Okay, you need to do a lot of background research, because at the interview I said that I want to do a lot of research, and I want to explore a bit more on the CAS and EE. But at the end, sometimes it's not suit for all. And one more thing is always be disciplined.
Back in SEMO, I used to play a lot, and I have a lot of fun. But you need to have in mind the research and everything. You need to start early. Most of the student in SEM 3, you see there's not a lot of sleeps. Lepas tu stress, memang banyak betul yang tak cukup masa. Be early prepared. Lepas tu macam tadi cakap, research dulu. And last thing juga betul, kena banyak rapat dengan teacher, sebab teacher ni akan guide sebenarnya. In terms of research, sikit-sikit lah. But at the end, it's matter up to you. Kalau kita baik dengan teacher tu, IA system, ada internet assessment, it's based on teachers. Okay. And kalau kita rapat dengan teacher tu, dia akan buatkan research tu lagi menarik lah. Dia bagus sebab dia yang makin kita punya paper. So it puts a lot in the teachers as well lah. Okay. So that's all for everyone to yang nak ambil IBDP.
Okay.
Okay, for me, for anyone who wants to go to Japan under a scholarship, I will say you will feel like going to Japan is not worth it, because UK, US, they are very prestigious. So you will feel like, should I drop the scholarship and go to like a local UDP or something? I say just YOLO it. YOLO, just don't think about it, because in the end, both are good choices. You won't really know what the results are until you've reached the end. So just go for it. You feel like you want to quit halfway through, you feel like, is this really the right path? And even now I'm still thinking of it. But I think I've grown to accept my course as it is, and I think just have fun with it. Just have fun. Japanese is actually really fun to learn. You'll get to watch anime without subtitles soon and all. So
That's such an appealing point.
have fun, relax. It's really low pressure. That's it.
Yeah, there really is no right or wrong pathways. So all of it, there's good things of it, and there's also some of the downsides of it. But at the end of the day, all of the experience that you get it grows you as a person. Yeah, okay, Aqilah.
My point relates to what you just said.
Okay.
One thing about SACE, dare I say, is that it makes you stronger. And I think I would dare say that it's the most closest format to actual university practices, as in like your research, your coursework, your assignments, the tests that you have upcoming, which is also weighted. So I would say if you do get SACE, it will break you down and build you up into a stronger person, definitely. And so my advice is to make sure you always take notes and remain organized. And Shani, it's not about the stress. It's about the burden. The burden, if you allocate it evenly amongst your days, the stress is very low. It becomes a trouble when you allow it to accumulate. So that's why it's important to be proactive. One tiny step is what will help you. One tiny step every single day, instead of pushing yourself to do all-nighters, it's what will help you in SACE. And so always remember to make progress every day, even if it's just one sentence you wrote.
Also get enough sleep.
That's a really, really good advice. And I think really agree on the organization part. So as for A-levels freshies out there, first thing first is to learn smart. in a sense that because you are gonna do like 3 to 4 subjects, it honestly, like as compared to like SPM, it doesn't feel like a lot. But when you're actually doing it, if you don't really like keep track of all of your different subjects and all of your assignments, right, it's really, really easy to kind of get lost in the sauce. So first thing, practical advice first, get organized, and also diversify your study sources. So you can have like, you can buy secondhand textbooks, but you can also go on a lot of like different websites that's like really established that have a lot of like revision notes, and also like past year questions for you to do it. And not to mention the YouTube channels are really good, my besties. And for some of the other advice is that, so previous A-levels, you have a lot of opportunities for you to explore things outside of just A-levels. As an A-level student, you have like the timing, you have sem breaks where you can go and seek like super curricular activities. You can do a lot of like different experiences. So I say like, just like use this timing well to explore things outside of academic, and don't ever confine yourself in just study. A-levels might be really appealing because it's like, oh, just study, right? But I would say, don't do that. Like, build yourself as a person, make yourself like a more interesting person by like doing more like different stuff. Yeah, I think that's like my advice for A-level student. And with that, we've approached the end of our podcast. Yay! So audiences, if you have any questions, drop your questions in the comments. And a huge thank you to all of our speakers here, Zaref, Azaryl, Aqilah, and Aqilah.
Especially Aqilah.
Yeah, especially Aqilah. Okay, so, okay.
Bye. Thank you, Face.